All right, I am going to draw an Eastern Asian dragon today. Not the kind of European lizard monster dragons. I'm going to draw a different kind. So I've got my paper-oriented portrait, and I've got some markers here. I really like to draw dragons from kind of an Asian inspiration. They are kind of like conglomerates of lots of different animals, which makes it kind of fun. I like to start out with some nostrils, some dragon nostrils. Coming on down here, some dragon lips, and a snout going back here. Coming on down here with their jaw. We'll take a quick break and put in a tooth. And then from here, a nice tongue, kind of a pointed tongue. So this is gonna go back, but let me put some teeth in here first. There we go. And the other side of my dragon's canines, or whatever these are. I'm not sure what dragon teeth are called, but dragon mouths are important, so it's worth it to take a little time, get it right. There we go, looking good. Okay, so back to my dragon's lips, and come on back up here, kind of its jawline. Okay, looking pretty good. I'll draw in my dragon's snout, and now some eyes. Some dragon eyes. You can make fierce dragons if you want, but I'm just gonna draw kind of a happy-go-lucky dragon here. Okay, so let's see, what part should I draw? I will draw in the dragon mane. Dragons from Asian cultures tend to have like the mane of a lion. So it's just typically something that looks kind of like this. And they tend to have the ears like a rabbit. So I'll draw some dragon ears. And they have horns like a deer, like a stag. So they kind of grow up and then tilt 45 degrees or so, and then tilt again. So it's these kind of like cool sideways growing horns. I don't know. They're fun to draw. I don't know how accurate I'm being, although I guess when you're drawing a dragon, like, they don't really exist, so accuracy doesn't really matter. Although it's nice to be accurate for whatever animal has this kind of horn. So there's my dragon's head. So they tend to be very wise, and wisdom comes with whiskers. So I'll give my dragon some nice long whiskers here. Dragon whiskers. Okay, so now I'll get to the fun part. Drawing a dragon's body. They are very sinuous creatures. S-shaped, snake-like. They have kind of long, strong, powerful bodies that are also kind of curvy. So I'm gonna put in one of my dragon's limbs here. And the way I like to make their hands is just kind of an oval. And coming out of this kind of like long comma shape for each of their toes. And then off of here, you can draw in a nail if you want. Claw, it's nice to have dragon claws. Okay, now back to drawing my S-shaped dragon. So now I've got a curve going here, and I'll just kind of go up with it. And it's fun to draw these creatures because they wiggle and they go all over. So now I'm going to draw the other part of my dragon's body, the other side. It's kind of tube-like, so I'm trying to keep the same distance from that first line. And I think I've reached kind of a second limb to draw, so I'll put that in here. And I'll continue with the body here for a second. I'm gonna make it get a little bit smaller here because the dragon's body is kind of coming to an end. Its tail. There we go. That'll be the end of my dragon. Go back over here and put in its other leg. And then here we go. One more limb. So at the time that I am making this video, it is just after the celebration of Lunar New Year. So this is the year of the dragon. So it's the perfect opportunity to draw one of these Eastern style dragons. Maybe in another video I could do European style dragons, because they're a lot of fun too. Nice, fierce, villainous, bad dragons. You know, in Asian cultures, dragons are powerful, but they're also very wise, very revered. You know, whereas European dragons tend to be just kind of bad. All right, so at the end of the tail here, I like to do a little bit of this thing. I don't know what this is. It kind of looks like fire, but not really. So here is my dragon. Lots going on here, wow. And you know what? I'm gonna switch over to my ballpoint pen and play with this thing. I'm gonna do something I normally don't always do when I make these drawings, but there's a really cool texture you can make. Actually, before I get that, let me put a little texture up here on the horns, just kind of like this. Yeah. I can also maybe put some hair here in the mane, some fuzz. So you know this dragon's got some wild hair. Okay, now, this dragon's body is covered with scales, right? So let me talk about the pattern that I might use to make those dragon scales. I'm gonna do something that looks kind of like the number 3, or like a W. So I'll kind of just go like this. Just drawing a number 3 again and again, a never-ending 3. And then from here, I'm gonna start my next layer of 3s. And you can see you kind of create the idea that this dragon is covered in scales. This is actually a really fun pattern to draw, but it gets really tricky. See how the body starts curving? Well, I have to kind of curve my pattern around too. And it always gets out of control. It always goes crazy. It always goes weird. It never quite goes the way you want it to, but that's okay, because it's just fun to draw. See, my pattern is breaking down as my creature turns sideways, as it turns sideways. But that's okay. I think that's kind of the way these scales are supposed to work. Right? They slide underneath each other so this dragon can move and not have any part of its body exposed. So there we go. Now it's turning again, so I'll kind of bring it back together with this 3 shape. These 3s. And see, I'm trying to kind of follow the contour of this dragon here. Once you start this, it's really hard to stop. I mean, you can't just be like, okay, my dragon only has scales on its neck, and the end. I mean, once you decide you're gonna try this, you really have to go all the way. And I know normally I keep these videos somewhere between, 3 to 10 minutes. Sometimes if I really get going and really get excited about a drawing, it might go a little bit longer. But I have a feeling, because I'm doing all these scales and this pattern, it's gonna take a little while longer. And that is okay with me, because I am having fun with this. And I'm drawing a cool looking dragon. So at the end of the day, this is a nice way to spend some time. And if you don't like it and you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is that you decide you want to watch this, you can just go ahead and fast forward all this. I don't have that luxury. I can't just fast forward through life. There we go. You'll notice I'm kind of starting and stopping here and there. Like if the beard gets in the way, I just draw around it. This really is one of those moments where if you take the time and just keep persisting and don't get, bored, or don't rush it, don't get discouraged, it ends up looking super duper cool. These patterns, there's lots of different patterns you can draw with pens and ink. If you really kind of take your time and you are consistent with how you do it and persistent about getting it done, it really makes the drawing look textured and interesting. And even if you don't, it's still a nice way to spend a little bit of time. Because, This is relaxing for me, just tracing this pattern back and forth. It's hard to find things that are, you know, relaxing and easy and free, you know, in the world, so it's okay to take some time and do this. Maybe put on some music. Some people like to watch TV and draw. That's not me. I don't like to do that very much. I'll do it every now and then. But really, I just like to kind of go slow and draw. So coming in here towards the tail, I think these scales are gonna have to kind of get a little smaller and tighter and closer together to keep that pattern going, but I don't want to do it too much. You don't want the illusion of these scales to just like vanish. You don't want the dragon's tail to look so much different than the rest of its body. Now, you might also notice that I kind of skipped over doing my dragon's limbs, my dragon's legs, its arms and feet. You can go back and do those if you want. I'm not entirely sure how I would do them. I guess I would start here and kind of follow the same pattern, maybe make it a little bit looser. Oh, that looks pretty good. Just kind of keep that 3 pattern going. I'm not really sure what it would look like. That seems to be a pretty good job. All right, there's my dragon. What you could do, you know, there's so much going on with this dragon. There's just so much to look at. It's so busy. It might be helpful to section off certain parts of it that are black. Maybe give him black nails or something, just so it breaks up the image a little bit more. You might also want to give him a shadow down here. These dragons, when you draw them, it's fun to put them in like really impossible positions, all twisted and like they're flying and dancing. It's also a lot of fun to put some shadows in there. Their bodies I kind of envision as like almost snake-like. So snakes, you know, they can be kind of creepy, but they're also, you know, very muscular, very round, very nice to look at. Kind of intricate, weird, beautiful scales. All right, I'm sure this video is probably gonna be like 20 minutes, so I guess I'll stop here. Oh, maybe I'll just... Okay, well, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Have a great day.